Sometimes the story we want to tell is not our story. For those situations, I recommend writers take a look at Ghosts by Sophie Calle. Calle seeks to tell the story of paintings and other works of art that are for some reason missing from their home. She does this by interviewing the museum staff, everyone from curators to security guards. She asks them to remember and describe the missing pieces and then mixes all of these interviews together to create one collective memory. Ghosts is that collection of their responses, and it reveals the power of word choice, imagery, voice, and perspective. This is Ignited Ink Writing, a channel dedicated to helping writers like you transform your stories so it lingers with readers in the way Ghosts lingers. Because writing that lingers gets remembered and recommended to others. I'm Caitlin Burvey, editor and writer. I'd like to begin with a collective perspective. Even though each person in Ghosts is giving their own personal account, the collection of interviews creates an almost omniscient perspective of the missing piece of art. Calle accomplishes this by asking a variety of people to describe the work and weaving their interviews together. Everyone who described Bernard's nude in a bath remembered the main figure was a woman in a bathtub, but each person then contributed a specific detail that the other people had forgotten or left out. Together they built a detailed description of that painting. Each employee was given roughly the same amount of space to provide their description. This is similar to how omniscient point of view provides a balance between each character's thoughts and opinions. By giving each person a similar amount of space, Calle prevents any one voice from taking over the story. If you wish to convey a nonfiction story that's bigger than any one person, that shows a variety of voices and opinions, pay attention to how Calle strikes this balance. The other thing to note is what Calle contributes to this. She might not have seen these pieces, so she doesn't describe them. Instead, she sets the scene like an omniscient narrator would. She describes where the pieces are missing from, what form they were, a painting or a sculpture, and why they are missing. This is similar to when the omniscient point of view narrator describes the setting or sets up the world before the story really gets going. When you are the person collecting interviews and creating a nonfiction work like Ghosts, it's your job to ground your readers. And one way of doing that is by setting the scene for them. Ghosts is also a collection of voices. Even though together the interviews are creating one collective effect, they are also each a first-person account of what happened. So they reveal a lot about that person. While the description of the basic subjects of each work of art were consistent, the details, the mood, and the tone varied from person to person. How a person or character describes a work of art reveals a lot about them. It not only shows whether or not they liked the piece, but it can reveal some of their backstory, their knowledge, and their skills. Two people described The Enigma of a Day by Giorgio de Chirico as, "It doesn't have instant dramatic appeal. It's mostly the typical de Chirico colors, mustard, gold, brown, and blue. There's not much life in that one." Person 2. "It's an abandoned city that you would expect to be dirty and black, and this one is impeccable. It feels like the air has been sucked out. There's not a single cloud in the sky, nothing between you and the object. There is an uncanny atmosphere of silence in this picture." The first person speaks in short declarative sentences. They are just reporting the facts of this picture. They're not including their own personal emotions because they didn't really like it. They are also revealing that they are knowledgeable in art. They can compare this piece to the artist's other pieces, and probably other works of art as well. The second person uses a mixture of long and short sentences in almost a breathless, excited manner. They are describing the piece in more detail and with more enthusiasm, showing that they liked it. They're also sharing their own personal feelings in response to the piece, which means that it left more of an emotional impact on that person. Because Ghosts is a collection of interviews, each description is technically dialogue, but Calle doesn't structure this with the traditional dialogue format. Instead, she puts the description of each painting in one block of text, and uses square bullets to separate each speaker's description. This allows her to create that collective perspective and still hold on to the individual people's voices. She does this to allow the reader to create a better mental picture of the missing piece of art, and because her desire is to describe that art, not to have a conversation between people describing that missing piece. If she had used traditional dialogue format, it would feel more like a conversation and less like a collective description. This is an example of a time when breaking the rules and playing with form was successful in creative nonfiction. So if you are thinking about playing with the form of your creative nonfiction piece, look at Calle's Ghosts and see why she made the decisions that she did. Now I'd like to share why a professional editor recommends Ghosts by Sophie Calle. Any writer attempting to deepen their characters or create distinct voices can take the concept of Calle's Ghosts and use it as a writing exercise. Think of an important object, event, or even work of art in your story, and have each of your main characters describe that thing. Keep in mind that character's personality and their backstory and how those might affect their description. If all of your descriptions come out the same, you don't have different characters. You have different versions of the same character. Some people should like it, some people should not. Some people should feel strongly about it, others should not. If you don't have this variety, that means that your characters are not distinct enough. Ask yourself, if you put these descriptions in front of your readers, would they know which description belonged to which character? They should be able to if their voices are as distinct as they need to be. Ghosts by Sophie Calle shows the impact art has on people, and how different people respond and react differently to the same work of art. At the same time, it shows the collective perspective a community can have around a piece of art. Both of these perspectives are something to think about when it comes to writing your own story. So, if you were to write a book based on a series of interviews, what subject would you choose to interview people about? Share that in the comments below. And for more videos walking you through the techniques writers are using to make their nonfiction pieces successful, subscribe to Ignited Ink Writing, a channel dedicated to helping writers like you transform your writing so it lingers with your readers. Because writing that lingers like Ghosts does gets remembered and recommended to others. I'm Caitlin Burvey, editor and writer. To find out more about me, go to www.ignitedinkwriting.com. There you will also find a worksheet helping you use synonyms to make distinct character voices. And now it's your turn to use a collection of voices and distinct character responses to ignite your ink.